Hey, Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakadash, the honors to the apostles and elders of great Mr. who rule well. Peace, salutations, and blessings to the elect, pushing the word across the four corners of earth, risking your life to do so. And it's an unfortunate situation. But as we've always said, as the scriptures say, right, we always reaffirm, as the scriptures say, is there evil in the city and the Lord have not done it? You know, certain situations serve for judgment, right? Judgment for a fool, judgment for a murderer, judgment for this person. You know, judgment for the elect who might slip but get back up. Or the judgment could be mercy. Right? But when we bring out the scriptures and we explain to our people that these are the Edomites and that they're the devil that the Bible speaks of, we're not just talking to, try to, what's the word? Be magnetic, to get Jake to, want to hang out with us and shit. No, we're telling you because this is the counsel of the Lord. This is what the Lord told us. And this is wisdom. Why the fuck would you send your son on a boat to an island with some Edomites? Because based on the story, he was like one of the top wide receivers. So he's on the team, hanging out with some white boys, some young white boys, because young white dudes love to hang out with Jake because they want to understand how to be cool. Like, they really don't like you like that, but they want to understand how to be cool and how to get women and all of that. And today, I was seeing a lot of streamers and stuff trying to hang out with Jake. Like, they don't like you. They just want to use you, or for content. And then they're going to an island off the coast of Mississippi. And this is in Mississippi. Like, what is this guy's parents thinking of? And of course, he pops up unalived, right? Thinking that this is your friend. And what you notice about the last couple of years, you've been seeing young Edomites get away with actions of violence, and then they're justified. If the Edomite shoots up some stuff, or he had mental health problems, and he had a troubling upbringing, and all of this excuses. But then Jake, which we're not always saying Jake is always right, but in situations like this, Jake gets unalived, and basically the authorities are saying there's no foul play. Even though they haven't actually released toxicity reports, because that was what they were saying. It could have been drinking, and then he tried to swim and he couldn't swim, or some dumb shit. And then nobody knows what happens. There was no pictures of him, no videos. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't add up. And I remember I used to live in Virginia for a time, and there was a lake, and basically they told me that the extended family there, they said, if they invite you to that lake, don't go to that lake, because they done found a couple of our people in there dead. Through whatever means, they know. And the Esau do that too. They know Jake can't swim. They'll lure you into the water, or you get pushed into the water, or somehow, you know what I'm saying? They'll try to play a game. Hey, throw him in the water, guys. No, it's all good. We got, one of them type of Jones. And then that last time, they're gonna leave you in there. Oh shit, he didn't know how to swim. That one. I'm trying to tell you, these are not your friends, right? The scriptures say what? Seeing that he had but a short time, he shall come down upon you with a great wrath. All right, so a situation where a young Edomite got unalived, you getting prosecuted for taking him out to the fullest of the law. I think they gave Carmelo had a all-white jury, right? Still doing that in 2026. But then this situation, nothing. There's no foul play. It was just everything was completely accidental. Like, come on. And yeah, I can remember older people in my family tell you, hey, when you be around them, you better watch. You better watch yourself. There's something about that water too. Something about being in the water with Edomites where they remember that. Right? Jacob and Esau. They said, what Esau, as a matter of fact, let's just get it. And this is through the spirit. Right? He said, 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other question Edris asked thou not. All right, so Esau can feel we got his heel. That's why they desire to bring us down with them with this MOTB. This is gonna be their last trick, right? And they're gonna use a lot of false miracles and a lot of false science and a lot of shit. Because Jake is coming here, and that's another thing they're trying to shut down too. They've been talking about 14th Amendment, naturalized citizenship. That's been a big topic of discussion because Jake, comes here, primarily the Northern Kingdom and shit, some of the Southern Kingdom too. And they have a bunch of kids, and then now they're automatically citizens. And these Edomites, seeing that Jake multiplies so fast, they're trying to slow it down. Right? And they're seeing all these other nations too. And that's a part of why they came up with miscegenation laws. Right? So they could slow down the populace and definitely don't put these white women in there because they know too many secrets about us. Right? And that's why ultimately, man, no matter where you be at the job or wherever, you have to understand, man, these people ain't your friend. They might be, you might have, because Yahweh Shai did say Lazarus, but that was a kinsman at the end of the day. Those were Israelites. Those were family. And that was a different time. But these people, these other nations, they damn sure ain't trying to be your friend. They came here to get rich. They came here to do whatever. And they will use you in their plan to do what they have to do. Right? And Jacob learns that the hard way. This is Sirach 6 and 7. If thou would get a friend, prove him first and be not hasty to credit him. Right? And that's what we're doing, man. We're becoming close to the Lord again, man. We're becoming, this is a marriage. Right? This covenant we're coming to again. Right? And the Lord is proving us, allowing us to prove ourselves. And you allow somebody to prove themselves. You don't credit that person too quickly. Some people you went to high school with, you don't know these people like that outside. Yeah, you have to keep these people at a certain distance. All right, and it's a time where you're gonna be glad you did that because they're gonna be trying to point you. Oh yeah, I know that guy. I know, and some of them give a false witness. All right, for some man is a friend for his own occasion and will not abide in the day of your trouble. You think Esau? Hey, see, when I was younger, older people in my family used to tell me that. I'm like, I just think maybe they're kind of racist because their era, it was a little different. But then you get older and you understand, like, oh, they ain't built like us. They don't have the same integrity that we have. Right? They don't have the same spirit, Now I understand that. Understood it back then, but having this word, you really understand it. It's a completely different spirit. They not like us. And there is a friend who, being turned to enmity and strife, will discover your reproach. Again, some friend is a companion at the table and will not continue in the day of your affliction. It says with Esau, it said he forwarded the affliction. So he definitely ain't a friend. Definitely not in Mississippi. All right, Jake forgets so fast. But see, this is what happens when You embrace Western culture. It's all about the new shit. But then you forget the old way. You forget the ancient way of how things were done. Meanwhile, these Edomites, they're getting coached and they're getting the game from their uncles and grandparents, and this is how these people do, and this is the true nature. If you notice that, you don't see a lot of the clan, you don't see a lot of that, but you see it a lot online, because all these new age Edomites did was they just repackaged it. Right? They can't be open white supremacy. They can't all be Chud the Builder. It was a lot of Chud the Builders back in the day, but now they can't really do that, which they can only do it in groups, because they definitely wasn't gonna run up on Jake one-on-one. But they can't. They're not really doing that. Like, you had a group in D.C. It was reported white supremacist group, but they had masks on. They had facial coverings on. All right, what's that? The 48 laws that tell you to keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Well, the scriptures say different. Matter of fact, let's keep reading. It says, verse 11, but in your prosperity he will be as yourself, and will be bold over your servants. Oh, he's gonna be good. He's gonna be like you. All right. What's this movie? The Count of Monte Cristo. He thought the dude was his best friend. All right. That was about Jacob and Esau. It says, if you be brought low, he will be against you and will hide himself from your face. Exactly. He gonna turn. He gonna flip. All right. And a nigga do that shit too. This applies to whoever it applies to. It says, separate yourself from your enemies and take heed of your friends. And see, that's why the scriptures say the false prophet is the tail. All right, because through Martin Luther King and his bullshit ass dream, Jake really is in the mindset of integration. Let's integrate, and then there's no separation. You don't have your own stuff. All right, you don't have your own communities. You don't have your own businesses. You're integrated and you're trying to win in their game, which is completely unwinnable. Right? It's a snare and a trap. It says, separate yourself from your enemies. And there's always these situations where there's all these people around, but nobody saw anything. Like, when you go to stuff with Edomites like this, they all watch each other close. They get drunk and do gay stuff, but they watch each other. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, this black dude, which I don't know how many of us were there, sounded like he was the only one. He was right there, and then all of a sudden something happened, but nobody saw it. And Jake had the meme, when you're black, it's always somebody watching, and that's true. It's another thing I learned from older people who raised me. They always watch, especially you look like something, you're a man, like you're always being observed. But the scriptures say, with Sirach 12 and 8, it says, a friend can't be known in prosperity, and an enemy can't be hidden in adversity. Yeah, because the enemy is going to see that you're in adversity, you're in a situation, then they're going to reveal themselves. They're going to make their play. This is their time, to act on how they feel. And that's exactly what this has been. We're seeing who our enemies are. We're seeing all these other nations. Sometimes you get a little favor amongst them because the Lord said that. What happened? Even your enemies, be at peace with you. But ultimately, they say war was in his heart. Right? Because you kept perpetual wrath against your brother. These days it's just very subtle. It's extremely subtle, but you can tell how they're moving. Right? In the prosperity of a man, enemies will be grieved, but in his adversity, even a friend will depart. Never trust your enemy For like as iron rusts, so is his wickedness. Exactly. So you have to know who your enemy is, man, which our chief enemy is, the chief nation that the Lord is going to punish and not have mercy on is Esau. And if you don't know that, then everything else is just going to be confusing. Now you got Jake really raising their kids, and I've noticed that this whole generation really raising your kids and not explaining all the stuff that's happened to with these Edomites in the past. Like, that used to be a rite of passage to hear all the history and the stories, and you know, this is what our family had to go through, and we had to shoot it out with these Edomites, and then we had to run out of the South because of this. All, you know. That's why I say he that teaches his son shall grieve at the enemy. And that's exactly what's going on. Sirach 30:3, he that teaches his son grieves the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Like, though his father die, yet he is as left as he were not dead, for he has left one behind that is like himself. So not only teach your son, but teach your son the ways of the Lord. Teach your son this wisdom. And the whole chapter is good on how to deal with your sons. And laugh not with them. Don't laugh at him too much. Give him no liberty in his youth. You're not finna be just a hangout guy around the block. You finna have to do stuff. Right? Because your children are like your servants. Right? Verse 13, yeah, it said chastise your son. Right? Yeah, some patronization is going on. Because you don't know what I know. You haven't been through what I've been through. All right, that happens in the church too, man. You might get chastised by your fathers in the church, right? And that's for your betterment at the end of the day. And we talk about it every week how these Edomite women are starting to choose up on Jake. And these Edomites, they see it. They're pissed about that. They're not happy about that shit. They're moving around, you know, militarizing. And another thing too, the scriptures talk about the land of your captivity. You're not free. Like out here, they had the yacht, the Black Yacht Club. You know, and Jake rented yachts, paid all this money. It's like, you're not free. You're still attached to their system. They can still jerk you. They can still raise up costs on your taxes, on all your utilities. And what they're going to do is they're going to change it over. Completely change it over so that you're going to be cut off to buy and sell if you're not attached to their system. And what part, I don't know what part Jake don't understand. You're not free. You don't have your own land. You roaming around partying and shit, trying to just have a good time, hang out. And these people have ulterior motives. All right, they want to use you for whatever purposes. And when they get home, they're having conversations about you. All right. And so for all you members out there, the congregation, you have children, keep your children close. Make sure they understand. Another thing too, that's why the scriptures say 2 is better than 1. All right, 3 is better than 2. What does it say? Hey, the Lord himself, he sent the disciples out by 2. A lot of these situations, you notice Jake get in trouble because they be somewhere solo. That's why it's always, even though everything is witnessed at the end of the day, the scriptures talk about out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. It's always good to have, 2 or 3 people there to watch your back. Right? But Lord willing, this is edifying. Shalom to the elect.